with Bowl and Spoon. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Brett.
And we are here to talk about our trip to Ontario, Canada.
I remembered my green card this time.
Oh, shit. Don't even talk about that. We decided this year we wanted a road trip. And we're pretty good at road trips. We used to go to Florida. There was like a period of maybe 8 years that we would drive down to Florida from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and travel around camping out of our car for 2 weeks at a time. We did that for many years, explored various parts of it. And we were here in Pittsburgh, and it was getting hot, and it was preparing for, hot summer. And I was like, you know what? Let's head north. Let's go to cooler climes. And so it made a lot of sense. The dollar's pretty strong up there, and like Brett said, he had his green card. So we went up to Ontario and planned a camping trip kind of loosely, with a couple destinations specifically in mind, but really kind of winging it, knowing that the Ontario Provincial Parks, or OPPs, as they like to call them, are pretty reliable, which, it's an acronym, it's government, OPP.
Fair enough.
But they're pretty reliable and clean and got good reviews. And so we just decided, let's go.
They were. I mean, they're as reliable as certainly as any of our best state parks.
Yeah.
For sure. Just pretty much perfect. Equatable, in fact. It was lovely.
It was. So we started out, there was this place on the way up to start getting on the camping trip groove. There was a place called Guelph where I had found out about this Vietnamese restaurant called Nguyen's Family Restaurant. And so that was a good, 5 hours away. So it was a good destination for a first stop. So we went there. We had a really lovely meal.
We will have dinner.
It was a lovely meal. I had the pho, and Brett had the vermicelli with all the porks.
All the porks.
And a spring roll on top. And
Absolutely.
then I got spring rolls too. So Brett had his fill of spring rolls. And then they started making these little cupcakes, so we got those to go. And that was really lovely. And that is one of the nights that we stayed at an Airbnb because we had driven, got caught up in traffic a little bit, and it was already getting dark when we stopped to eat. And so I didn't want to drive anymore. So anyway, cut it short there and stayed at a really lovely Airbnb. But it was just a room and a house, which I usually prefer having like the whole space to ourselves. But it was okay. It was an experience.
Shared with perfectly interesting people.
Yeah.
And there was a skunk in the street.
We did see a skunk, yeah. So that was our first little wildlife in Canada, was a skunk in Guelph. They feel a song title. It's a good song title.
And a mystery rock concert going on somewhere that we couldn't find. But it did get us a nice evening walk in trying to find it.
It did, yeah. We walked around the neighborhood. It was lovely. Anyway, so then we spent a couple days in Owen Sound with our friend Derek. Annan, which is near Owen Sound. We camped out in his front yard, which was really interesting, and he made us waffles one day, which was cool. We went on a big hike on the we didn't realize what it actually was at the time. We knew it was a trail that went from Niagara Falls all the way out to the Bruce Peninsula, but it was called the Bruce Trail, and we really didn't have a concept of it until the end of the trip, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, we hiked a little bit of that, but also we hiked mostly road. So that was disappointing. So
it was, and also then missing the trailhead.
That was a whole thing.
With the person that knows where the trailhead is, and ended up walking accidentally on private land, which was in itself rewarding because how many hundreds of frogs?
Oh my God, so many frogs, and I was just happy with that.
Bright leopard frogs, beautiful things.
Yeah,
and also we found ourselves walking through, I'm guessing, sort of abandoned orchards, and there was random apples.
There were apples. We were grabbing apples off the tree and snacking on them, and Derek was also eating some other things like clover and whatever else he found. I forget what he was eating, but that was interesting.
was lovely, but it was then a lot of walking in the sun to
and it was
from.
really hot. This is the end of August. We went up August 24th. Yeah, so we took the big hike, and then we went for a swim to cool off in the Owen Sound, which was really nice to swim in clean, fresh water. It was really
that really was
fun.
quite lovely. Chilly though.
Yeah, it was.
Chilly water.
It was, but it was a nice sunset for that.
Oh yeah, nice to be in water watching the sunset. Definitely true. That was nice. And it's a beautiful place.
So we did have a couple meals in Owen Sound. We went to the Mudtown Brewery, and it was okay. I mean, it was an interesting experience. We tried a bunch of beers. They were okay. I picked one, a porter, I guess, and that was fine. And the poutine was really interesting. It was a special, poutine special, and they were doing a southern chicken poutine. We were like, okay, cool. We figured it would be like fried chicken on top, but turns out it was
for fried chicken.
What's that?
And you'd been jonesing for fried chicken for a few days already. I had been jonesing
for fried chicken. I often am. But anyway, this poutine was really interesting in that it had a light gravy. Usually it's a dark gravy with the fries or chips, as they're called up there, and many other places in the world.
All civilized nations in the world. Thanks very much.
So it's usually a dark gravy with cheese curds. We might know, poutine. But this was a light gravy with cheese curds and then chicken on top. But it wasn't fried chicken. It was just like, I guess they said it was a smoked chicken, which I didn't get any smoked flavor out of. But anyway, so that was...
Yes, it was a southern chicken, as in a southern US chicken, and not the deep fried variety. So there was that. But I think you likened it quite accurately to a poutine made of chicken pot pie.
Yeah, exactly. And it was called Mudtown Station, and it was in an old train station, which was really cool. So it was a really cool location.
Lovely space, great bunch of history all over it. That was quite fun.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was right on the Sound, and there was a big ship outside.
In the canal going into the lake, that's sitting there for servicing. It's huge.
Yeah.
And Derek and the guy on 30 foot up in the air on the deck having a conversation back and forth.
Yep.
That was hysterical.
And then we did go to dinner at a place called the Panda Garden, and it was for Derek's mom's birthday, so that was fun. It was, typical Chinese. It was Chinese Canadian, which we hadn't had before. It was okay. The portions were really big.
It was sort of nostalgia.
It was nostalgia.
Food.
Yep.
Which I have zero problem with, because I'm gonna have more Chinese nostalgia food. Absolutely again. No, it was perfectly good. And, I mean, very generous in this and very affordable. So, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun getting to meet all of Derek's family. That was a trip.
But we still weren't really camping yet.
We weren't camping yet, no. The next day we had the interview with
that's right.
Chef Zach Kishig from Naagan, and that was amazing. You can hear that episode. I think it was episode 25, one of the previous episodes of this podcast.
So that was nice, and he was just fascinating. Yeah,
so we interviewed him, and then we got on the road finally.
Yeah, well... because of course we had also started getting all those weird signals from the car, so now we had to take the car back to the rental, and we were trying to get that sorted.
That's a whole story.
And it is a whole story and a whole thing, and ended up with leaving later again that day than we wanted to, driving to somewhere we didn't really want to go.
We ended up in Barrie, Ontario to swap out the car, and we ended up getting a car that was slightly smaller. We made it work, though. Okay. And actually, by the third time we were repacking the car, I could actually see out the back window, which was super impressive. But we started out without seeing out the back window.
So we're still trying to figure out what it is we accidentally left behind somewhere.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea what happened there.
But then that sadly made it too late for us to drive on to the next campsite comfortably. And then it was throwing down rain.
Yeah.
And so there was nowhere, so we had to, unfortunately.
It was later than we thought. It was rainier than we thought. And we were less planned out where we were going than we thought. And so I made the executive decision to just get an
Airbnb.
Airbnb. Yeah.
So we had a rather...
So that was kind of a drag, but we had to do it. And then the next day we started out fresh. It was good. We got to shower and everything was good. So finally the next day we headed north.
I declared it my last shower in civilization, I think. But
He did.
yeah, I think I had another shower since we got back. But,
So we got up in the morning. We headed north on Highway 11 with conviction. And I had found a destination for the night, Marten River Provincial Park. And on the way, I found a farm. And I was like, great, we can stock up on supplies at this farm. I wanted to get eggs for sure and some meat because we had some vegetables.
I think this is a place actually where another note of hindsight is 2020, because we actually found the farm, thank goodness, courtesy of somebody we met in the town, where the farmers market that was fully listed.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yes,
and was there and was Googled up the wazoo. Hadn't actually existed there for something like 3 years or something.
Yes.
And so,
Google Maps is not to be trusted for Ontario stuff.
Do double checking, because we got off the road, found that, but then luckily somebody directed us to a farm, and that, if I'm right, is how we found Wand Family Farm.
Yep.
It is One Family. Oh, goody, I remembered something.
You're good. This is Wand Family Farm that we kind of broke into and banged down the door and begged them to sell us some food. So what did you tell us about?
Hi, we're Wand Family Farm. I'm Jennifer, and my husband Marcus grew up on this farm. And we have beef, pork, lamb, chicken, and turkey. Turkeys are fresh for Thanksgiving. Yeah, so we support our community. We sell our meat at the farmers market in North Bay every Saturday, and it's year long. So it's summers and winters, and and I egg grade as well.
Powassan, Ontario. That was the name of the place. Yep.
And we loaded up with some eggs, some sausage, pork chops. Just so good, and pea meal bacon. Oh my gosh, so good. Everything's so good.
Yep. So we bought the meat at the Wand Family Farm, and then we went to our campsite.
Yep.
To the campground, and
we're pausing
set up
for an antique store.
Oh, that's
briefly.
right down the street. We found this antique store, and we passed where the farm was. So we dropped Derek off at the antique store because he didn't want to come to the farm. We dropped him off, and then went to the farm, bought the food. Then we went back and picked up Derek, and Brett went into the antique store. You want to talk about that?
No, it was nothing much. It was, luckily.
I'm glad you brought it up.
It was fun. It was just one of those fun places on the road, but thankfully I didn't find anything to buy. For once.
That's great.
Makes a change.
Yeah. So we went to Marten River State Park, and Marten River, our campsite was like right on the river. It was beautiful. However, it was right across the river. I would say probably like a quarter kilometer across the river. From the highway. So we heard the highway noises all night, which was, I don't know.
A lot of trucks.
It sounded like planes sometimes, so I could kind of sleep through it, but Derek was really disturbed by it. So mental note on picking a campsite next time.
Yes.
Yeah. But that was the only night I put up the lights in the campsite. I don't know why. I brought those little twinkle lights. But anyway.
Oh, no, it's not the only night. Because you also set them up on the tent a couple of times. I remember.
Oh, that's right. I did at Kip-Kap-Iwan.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we had a lovely night. We cooked the pork chops over the fire, which took longer than expected.
It did. But, with that rendered fat and all the other things that we threw in there with it.
That was so
really good. Really good.
So then we headed further north, and we're traveling on the TransCanada Highway, which is Highway 11. Yeah, that's the right way to say it, right? Highway 11?
I think so.
So we were heading that way, and there's this town called Temagami on the way to our next campsite, And Derek was really excited to visit Temagami. And I can't remember why, because the one place that was there was this visitors center, art center. And that's where we ended up stopping.
And it was this repurposed, beautifully renovated railway station. And it was just gorgeous. But yeah, I can't remember what the history was. I feel like it was something terribly, terribly sad. But thankfully we didn't see note of it while we were there.
Yeah, Ontario seems, I don't know if it's just Ontario or if it's a thing throughout Canada, but fires seem to be a big thing to memorialize. There were giant tragic fires.
Well, they were, and they were enormous. Yes, and there were. So it's not that they want to memorialise them. They deserve to be memorialised. They are actual historic events, and perhaps a little bit more prescient given the fires that they've suffered in recent years. I mean, good Lord, later on,
that's true.
We're going to talk about having driven through one of those forests that obviously made our skies kind of grey for a while.
Yeah.
That was very recent history. So but it was a lovely little place. Tiny, tiny little place.
Yeah.
But then with this...
There were maybe, 20 buildings in the main drag.
And small neighbourhood of very few streets off of it. And then the visitor centre, and then drive back into the woods. And there's, this amazing park with staggering trails and what was it? The tower that you could climb up, the viewing tower. That was just...
It was a fire tower.
Yeah, a fire tower you could climb. And that was incredible.
Yeah.
And it was amazing landscape to look back down.
It was our first, really Canadian landscape, I felt. Yeah, it was really sprawling and flat-ish. And
lots of
pine trees and water, yeah.
Water in there. Ooh, there's a beaver lodge. Ooh, there's another beaver lodge. Ooh, there's a beaver lodge.
Canada does have a lot of beavers, it's true.
I know. I did not get tired of them.
And squirrels. The squirrels up there, oh my God.
They are adorable.
They're a little bit smaller.
Not much meat on them.
And when we got to the first campsite, squirrels would get in the car if we left the door open, even for a second. It was bonkers.
Chased them out a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
pretty
adorable. Cool. But my goodness.
So back to Temagami. So we went to Temagami and we went into the visitor center, and there was an art exhibit going on. It was actually
the culmination of a residency program that they had done there.
We got to meet the artists and stuff, but that wasn't what we were in Canada for. So we headed out. We went to the fire tower. We went on a little hike, and while we were at the fire tower, we ran into these guys. One of them was one of the artists in residence. And 3 of his friends who were there, they came up from Toronto to support him and see his show. And so I said, well, we need some lunch. If you guys have been around, where would you recommend we go to eat? And immediately they were all like, the Happy Dumpling, the dumpling place. Go to the dumpling place, go to the dumpling place. And so we carried on our walk and went to the beaver pond. Once we had a nice hike and we were hungry, we went to the Happy Dumpling. And it took us a minute to find it because they said
which is absurd given how small the place is.
But they said it's across from the church, and we looked down, there was the church there, and I pulled down the road and it wasn't there, and then realized that it was right on the highway. Right on the highway. Off the highway. On the side of the highway. But it was right there. Hi, we are currently in Temagami, Ontario. And we are at the Happy Dumpling House on Route 11. Highway 11. Sorry, Highway 11. Still learning Canadian. Canadese?
Yes, learning to speak Canadese.
Canadese. Canadese, okay, right. Anyway, so we're at the Happy Dumpling House, which we heard about from these guys who are doing an artist in residence here from Toronto. And I don't know, it was great that they recommended it because we just had some of the best butter chicken dumplings I've ever eaten. They were amazing. And this mango salad isn't shabby.
No, it is not.
But we are sitting, as you can probably tell from the traffic, we are sitting probably 15 feet away from Highway 11.
The TransCanada Highway?
It's the TransCanada Highway.
That's about 8 meters from the highway for all you Canadians listening.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really anticipate the trucks that would be on Highway 11, TransCanada Highway, as we were driving up here. And so it's got me a little thrown off, and it's really hard to sleep by as well. And the first night campsite was kind of right across the lake from where the highway goes. And so it came right into our
utterly
campsite.
exposed, so it's just...
Transport trucks, and the sound just came right across the lake to us.
It was beautiful, except for the trucks. So tonight we're heading up to Kip-Kap-Iwan? Kip-Kap-Iwan?
Something like that.
I'll pronounce it better tomorrow.
Yes. It's a campground we're going to.
We're going to another provincial campground. That's a state campground for all the Americans listening. Because they don't have states here. They have provinces. Provinces, yeah.
Yep, and it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. But they're real nice. The one we're going to tonight doesn't have running water, so that'll be interesting. But we're just starting out. This will be our second night camping. And we stopped for dumplings. Because we can, right along the highway. It's pretty bonkers. And really interesting.
And these dumplings are incredible. They're butter chicken dumplings, and I swear they taste so authentic. And to be finding them in a small little village way in northern Ontario is surprising to me. And I'm Canadian.
I should introduce you. This is my friend Derek Birch. We've been friends for 33 years. We met in Paris in 1991.
Nice to meet you, everyone.
And as usual, this is my co-host, Brett.
That'd be me with my mouth full.
All right, talk to you later. We loved the Happy Dumpling, and I wish I had bought 5 dozen dumplings at the time, but we shared a 10-pack of dumplings and a mango salad, and I thought, we'll find more food along the way. No. Buy all the food at the Happy Dumpling.
It really was so good. Which is, in and of itself, sounds like an odd combo, but it was very, very good. And I'd happily eat it again. I'd also like to try out some of their other ideas. But they were fascinating girls too.
My name's Naomi, and I had this place, this chip stand, and I just saw burgers and fries all over the place up here. And I wanted to do something different. I always loved dumplings, and I thought, why not bring something that I love, that I'm really passionate about, and I can do something more creative. And and thankfully my sister was around here to help me out.
Who's your sister?
It's my sister Tina.
Hi, Tina.
She's here.
Hi there.
So she's helped me out this summer, and this year we did it as dumplings. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can do it again next year.
Oh, wow, this is your first year?
Yeah, since
fantastic.
May. We've been open since May.
It's really
the first year as dumplings, yeah.
Excellent. It's really disconcerting being this close to the highway.
It's very loud, yeah.
It's loud, and I have these visions of trucks just going, ah! It's my imagination, but...
You kind of get used to it after a while, but yeah, it's...
They do slow down through the little village here. That's
thankfully,
nice.
yeah. Sometimes with police enforcement,
So
they hang around.
Are you guys from Ontario?
For a long time, yeah.
We moved here in 1995 from England. So
excellent.
I was 11 at the time. So it's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, most of our lives we've been in Canada. Yeah.
Your dumplings were phenomenal. Thank you so very much.
I'm
really
so happy you
appreciate
came. Thank you.
They were so good.
Yeah.
But it was insane. Sitting there eating mango salad and butter chicken dumplings while giant trucks just barreling past you just feet away. That was bonkers but lovely. And definitely got me paying attention to the street food again out there.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the first day on the road, really.
Proper.
Yeah, and I thought we'd come across more of the stands, but we didn't. There was a lot of chips, like fries, a lot of poutine, burgers, sausage, but nothing as unique as the dumplings. So we got to Kip-Kap-Iwan Provincial Park around 6:30. It's a 3-word hyphenated. And it was a wonderful park, but we got there after they were closed. And that was a thing that I noticed with some of the parks. Like, you couldn't, and maybe it's a Google Map thing too, because it said different times that they were closed. And so never didn't always sync up. Sometimes we'd think, oh, we're going to get there after they've closed, and they're there.
Well, there was that. There was one, there was still somebody at the gate the one time. That was odd. But the others, mostly it seemed to be that, yes, this, just you pull up to the gate and the guy hands you everything out the window. It seems like a lot of times those would close, but that when that happened, you were just to drive on down to the park office store, and then usually that was open until 9 or 10.
It depended on the site, though. There were some where there was nobody there for the whole time, like after a certain time.
I don't.
Some of them
that.
were.
I didn't know.
Anyway, so just be flexible and make reservations. And if you get there and nobody's there, they're totally fine with you going, setting up, and then checking in the morning. That seemed to be the way it worked.
Seemed to be.
So, but at Kip-Kap-Iwan, we ended up with the camp warden.
Yep.
So the camp warden, who's like the camp ranger, he came over and was like, oh, I saw you coming down the road, and he helped us to check in, and then told us a little bit about the park. And Kip-Kap-Iwan was a park, one of the provincial parks that got disinvested in for a while. Like, they had to close it down for a period of time back in the 70s, 80s. And this group, this cross-country skiing group, had taken over and made their own ski trails. And they also made this big sign, and this unofficial sign, which I guess map makers would probably be really crazy. It would make them crazy, but I loved the map that they made because it just said was covered in trees. There were trees.
I mean, and to
so
their
many
credit,
trees for a map.
I do also think that a lot of those trails were actually very well maintained, and they were posted well. I mean, quite professionally done. So I feel like there was a leveling that the guy was saying was coming, as they were trying to reclaim the park site as a provincial park site, renovate a lot of the campsites, because a lot of them obviously hadn't been utilised for years, but they were still there, which actually gave us places where we found things like the horsetails improper, so you could see them clearly for once, right? And so it was quite nice, naturally, for us.
Yeah.
But I think it was going to be a balancing act between, they have to live now with these people still because they're going to come through and use these trails, and the fact that actually some of them are pretty good and they are well maintained. So
so they're not
impressive.
They're not super mad about it, but they're unofficial. And they just told us to make sure we were looking for the proper blazes when we went around hiking. So we ended up staying at Kip-Kap-Iwan for 2 nights, and got to really venture around. That's where we saw the first beavers.
Oh yeah. Oh, and also going in, another recommendation, not a bad idea to buy your firewood on the street.
Oh, that's a good tip. Yes.
Because we found that an awful lot, but while you can reliably buy it in the sites, I think it's usually like $10 Canadian a bundle. Quite regularly it seems that then whoever's supplying this is not drying it properly, and so it doesn't just burn because it was raining the day before and it's a little damp. It's like it's never actually been properly dried. So trying to keep that lit was
smoke,
quite often,
especially if it was the least bit humid or
it just
damp in the air.
You couldn't have enough kindling to keep it going, and so that was kind of annoying. So, but it was that side of it. But also quite regularly you find these, like we did, just straight down the street 2 nights in a row we did it. It was quick burning stuff, but it was, $5 a bag and plenty of it.
But also buy kindling, because you're not going to find enough stuff around the campsite, and they don't want you to take stuff from the campground to be able to. At Kip-Kap-Iwan, it wasn't so bad because the loop that we were on, which was away from the RVs and stuff, it was just a tent camping loop, and many of those sites weren't really viable. They were overgrown and stuff, so they were trying to bring it back, but they didn't have water taps. So usually when you go to the provincial parks, each site will have a fire pit and a picnic table, and then plenty of room for you to put your car and a tent or 2 tents. You can search by number of tents on a single site on their website. Their website is fantastic. And many of them have they have like water taps where you could go, and it's potable water unless otherwise noted. And we only had one situation where we didn't have potable water. It was a boil advisory, but that was really rare. So most of the time we had good potable water coming out of a nozzle somewhere near us within walking distance. Easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Never a hard thing. But then, so that is where we got reprimanded because somebody in our group brought back giant logs from some of the ancient abandoned campsites. And of course, we did observe that they were never going to be dry enough to burn, and they were huge,
like moss
and they were
them.
literally life.
So we got it spanked a little at our first,
and we deserved
second campsite. Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah,
But we did deserve that. We brought that on ourselves. But there was.
But get firewood and get kindling before you get to the campground. And campgrounds will have it if you need it. But it was $10 a bundle, where we were getting it on the roads into the campgrounds for like $5. So
you can save a little bit, but it was more in the end. It was more reliably dry. So there's that. But but then like you said, get in, and as we overdo, get set up, and then go and explore the environs, and we find that you can hear a rushing of a waterfall just up the way, a beautiful wide low river, sandy banks, fir trees. It's beautiful, beautiful place, and then beavers. Yeah, right there, and just 4 of them just swimming around, gathering, building the lodge. That was
and I think this is the first night that you really felt like you were. That's what you came for, right? Oh, and Derek made us those banana boats with the chocolate chips. Yeah, so we can play that clip too. We have banana.
Well, we should know, but we are
sliced,
sitting under the stars.
We are
waiting very patiently for a supernova.
Oh yes. What is it called? TCRB.
TCRB. Okay. Come on, Derek. Your best guess at the name of where we are.
Kip-Kap-Iwan.
Kip-Kap-Iwan. Is that right?
Kip-Kap-Iwan.
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 And a provincial state park, right?
Yep.
And
we have arrived, and it is beautiful.
There is. We can hear a waterfall just upstream from us, on a river right below us.
Kip-Kap-Iwan is Ojibwe.
That's right.
For water over the rocks.
That's right. That's what our camp. The warden, the guard,
camp warden. Yes.
He did tell us
or
that. You're absolutely
park
right.
Warden.
Park warden did tell us that, and it's true. There is just that lovely rushing off to our right.
Mm-hmm.
A staggeringly clear sky and stars. A little chilly, and we're sitting at a campfire, courtesy of Derek, enjoying bananas stuffed with chocolate chips.
They're
cooked in the coals of the bonfire.
They're called banana boats.
Banana boats.
Yes.
So you take the banana,
and you
with the peel on.
With the peel on, you slice it down the middle and open it up like a canoe, and then you stuff it full of chocolate chips, as many as you can fit in, and then add 3 more, and then you wrap the entire thing in aluminum foil. And you stick it in the coals around the campfire, and you move it around a couple of times. You want to wait until it gets all squishy, because the hot, squishy banana and the melted chocolate together is decadence beyond anything you've ever experienced. Am I right?
This is like...
You are right, sir.
It's like a stew.
You are right, sir.
Thank you.
It's like a stew cooked in the peel. I wonder if, the banana peels will have an effect on us, but... it's like a chocolate banana stew that's been cooked in the banana skin.
What effect would they have? You don't actually get high if you smoke banana peels, do you?
Is that another thing? I don't know.
I mean, I've heard of people doing that, but I always assumed that it was just a joke.
I don't know. But it is a unique thing. You eat it. With a bowl and a spoon.
Indeed.
Because you can't hold the hot foil on your lap or in your hand while you try and eat your hot banana chocolate out of it. But it is delicious. It really is.
And then you can lick the foil after.
Oh, yeah, I guess there's that.
Try not to hit your fillings. But no, this is just lovely. So this is definitely a piece of why I came to Canada.
We didn't even know about this, Brett.
No, we didn't. But I'm in a place I wanted to be, and it is beautiful, and it's a little chill. I'm looking forward to that sleeping bag. But at the same time, this is just kind of perfect. Nice fire.
It's a lovely snack. It's, I would say it's not as messy as s'mores, but now I'm thinking, like, my hands are a little sticky.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
imagine if you hadn't used a bowl and a spoon.
It's
Exactly.
true. You should do it definitely with a bowl. So bring your bowl and spoon, people. It's necessary. Most of the time, actually. Yeah. With bowl and spoon. And also, I need to know when I'm playing these clips from actually on the trip, we didn't know how to pronounce things entirely properly
No,
at the
this is
time,
it.
or to say Highway 11, because I would say Route 11, and that's not what they call it, or the TransCanada Highway. Like, so there may be some inconsistencies, but hopefully we're getting it right here.
Yeah, I think that was it. I was bemoaning, I think, when we left, that it was, you're finally just getting used to looking at those native names and realizing you now have the muscle to actually figure them out and how to pronounce
Yeah.
them. At least try to. Not look at them and go, that's Dutch and I'm not even going to try. Yeah.
We get more brave.
Yeah.
And also, the one that threw me was, we'll talk about it later, but at Lake Superior, Pinguisibi. Pinguisibi. I looked at that word for so many days after we had been there. And now I can pronounce it. Anyway, I digress. So, back to where we were. The next day, because we were staying the night, we didn't have to pack down everything. So that was really exciting. But we cooked up the pea meal bacon, and all of the meat had thawed out by that point. So we'd
cooked
eaten
it
the
all up.
pork chops, and now we cooked up the pea meal bacon and the sausages. And we made these really great sandwiches with these rolls that we got in Temagami and the eggs from the Wan family farm. It was lovely. And then I put the sausage and leftover bacon and baggies. Oh, and that's what we have to talk about too. So Brett did this brilliant thing. He's been doing this for a while, actually, when we go travel or camping or whatever. But he'll grind up the coffee. And do you want to go ahead and talk about
Well,
your process? Brett has a
Well, I am way too
fantastic coffee.
way too anal about this for my own good. But yeah, I normally, I'm at home, I like to hand grind a coffee. It's about all of an upper body workout I generally get in a day. But for this I did not. I mean, I started and I quickly decided that was just not going to be a thing, because I was going to make something like 26 or 30
Oh, I
bags.
thought you hand ground all 30 bags.
No, I did not. No, I did not do that. I did not.
But he does weigh them all. You weigh them all, right?
But so I just got out the baggies. I weighed out the 45 grams of coffee beans for every one of them, load them up. Then I just ground all of them, and then I went by and I ground up all of the cacao beans. Yes, we are that through. We also put in pestle and mortared cacao beans.
Oh, it's so good.
It's
a little
definitely a
frou-frou,
thing.
but whatever.
Mexico
It's so good.
spoiled us there, but yes, so I did that. But of course, it had to say similarly. I had to figure out what the ratio was, and I got that down. But I did that like 26 or 30 times. I can't remember. All I do remember is that somehow we came home and I didn't have to grind coffee for a week because we still had plenty left over. But yeah, when it's all just ground up and it's in its baggie, it can go pretty much anywhere in the storage. So it's no organizational problem, which is nice.
Yeah, so Brett ground up the coffee, and we use a French press. So in the morning, all we had to do was boil water, empty one of the baggies into the press, and then pour the boiling water over it. Although Brett has a lot more finicky little bits and pieces and ways that he stirs it so many times or whatever.
I am not going to argue with the Martha Stewart method.
Oh my God, there's Martha. Yes, you're talking about Martha again. I think I've told that story before.
Yes, I think so.
All right, so that is a really good tip though. So if you do something like that and you take your already ground coffee, divide it into daily, already measured out bits, those coffee bags are super convenient throughout the trip. We use them for any of the leftover meats or whatever we had, like leftover food that we had done. Chop up the whole onion if I've got the cutting board out and the knife out. Chop up the whole thing. We use half, the other half goes in a baggie. So just like you do at home.
Yep.
But the baggies, that's key. That was really super helpful. And I would cut up cucumbers and carrots to have as snacks in the car. Anyway, we ate coffee grounds on those carrots and cucumbers, but it was delicious. Yeah, it was great.
Nice. It gave it a nutty, roasty flavour and mildly chocolate. And then, of course, also your collections of rocks, the inevitable nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah, useful.
Rock sticks. We didn't bring how many plants, I swear. Well, some plants we did, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we hiked around Kip-Kap-Iwan. There's a waterfall trail that we took there, which was lovely. Waterfalls, berries, rocks, lots of rocks, frogs in rocks on top of waterfalls.
Yep.
It was the whole thing. It was great.
Pretty amazing.
So then, maybe around 2:00 we left to go and try and find some lunch or something. I wanted to get some produce because we had found a meat stand, and I wanted to get some vegetables to go with it. And so I heard that there were these Mennonite farmers all over this particular area. So the guy gave me directions, and we just started driving around. And it started to rain. It was just really beautiful. We saw these, they had harvested hay in that weird sort of...
Oh, yes. That was
triangle way. Oh, there's pictures. It's amazing.
Looked like something out of an impressionistic painting. It was
Yeah.
quite amazing. And
it was very cool.
And we did find stands, but they were either closed or they were mostly... And we did stop and buy at one of them, but it was pastries and breads and... things we didn't need, like big jars of pickles or something.
Yeah.
But
we did buy a loaf of bread that we ended up not eating ever.
No, you're right. But the rolls we ate, we did manage.
We did, yeah.
Take the rolls.
And we bought butter tarts. And that's kind of like a Canadian national food. I found it too sweet, but it was fine.
Well, I think they have their equivalent, certainly for me, back home. But also here, it's, what is it reminiscent of? Like a pecan pie?
Yeah,
like a
really, pecan pie.
Really sweet pecan pie. And yet, definitely that seems to be a point of the Ontario taste bud is sweet.
That's true.
They do seem to.
And that was one of your theories about the Mudtown Brewery, was that the Canadians like sweet more than we do, and the beers were more sweet. That's interesting. That's true.
I mean that's presumptuous of me, of course, but at the same time, I suspect that's maybe possibly true.
Okay.
Although many beers later, would suggest.
It is not the case for all of Canada beer. Yeah, so we'll get rid of that bit. Anyway, so driving around, then we were hungry. We weren't going to go back and cook right away. So we ended up finding this food truck, and it was called, we have the menu right here, the Stony Lonesome Lodge Chip Stand.
Teams with all kinds of
They
different
had
toppings.
onion rings, and they had fried pickles, and they had a burger that had onion rings and fried pickles on it, and I got that. It was really good.
So good. You start realising that regularly on offer was distilled white vinegar. And
it was really wild.
Yeah, and apparently that is a thing, and I did not realise, and I would like somebody to explain to me the why. Because, malt vinegar, we've even educated the US of A to prefer malt vinegar with their fries. But, so why is it true of Canada? So I don't know if that's a French origin thing or what, but because it was...
I don't know. We want an explanation, Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
Let us
please
know.
Tell us.
So while we were there, we were waiting for our food, and I saw this gentleman. I went over and I said, "Hi, we're traveling." I forget exactly what I said, but we ended up talking with Roger and his grandkids for quite a while, and he told us all about his adventures up in Moosonee, because that's what we were still trying. At that point, we still thought we'd get up to Moosonee, which, spoiler alert, we didn't get up there. But Roger was giving us some really good tips and advice on things to do and things not to do when up in Moosonee, and I had a really nice conversation with him. It was really great, and his grandkids really wanted to see U.S. currency. It was kind of bold that they're like, "Do you have money from the States?" And we were like, "Yeah."
Why? What you're selling?
It was funny. Anyway, so here's a clip. Hi, Roger. I don't know if you want one of my cards too.
With bowl and spoon. Oh, you're very nice.
Thanks.
When you get the trains, it goes past. I think it goes all the way up to Churchill. But when you stop at Moosonee, there's a village there. There's a hospital. All the buildings, all the people's residents have a pipe coming from the hospital to each house. Overhead pipe, insulated, because they're all drawing heat off of that hospital.
Oh, wow. So the hospital is really important.
It's a very, very different atmosphere and the way they live. Back when I was there, the people that owned, we'll call them white people, Two Bay Enterprises, they ran the whole thing, and they treat the indigenous people, they let them be. They're self-policed up there, and you got 10, 12-year-old kids driving school buses, all the windows. It's very, it's like a reserve.
How recent were you up there?
I was up there in 92.
Okay. All right, so that's not recent. She's like,
But things are slow up there.
oh, no, I understand.
It would take
Probably
years,
the same.
years. They're probably the same. There's lots of, when you go down the main street trail to get to the big dock area, there's all kinds of shops where the natives were, they make moccasins and all kinds of native crafts.
Yeah.
And that's all for sale. It's very expensive if you take the package to Bay Enterprises, because they charge you lots, and there's all kinds of natives. They have these great big freighter canoes, and for $1, this is back in 92, 93, for $1 they would drive you all over the place in a big freighter canoe. Go check this out, check that out.
That's the kind of stuff we're interested in.
You see more, and you'll understand more if you talk to a native. They'll take you to places.
How would you recommend we go about, like, connecting with?
As soon as you get to Moosonee, and you get closer to the dock, the main dock where they load everybody on, they'll be around there, and you just approach a native, and like, don't grab that little kid, but there's lots of them there. And when I went, I was a scout leader, and we went up there to have a jamboree from all over Ontario, and we all met up there. I forget how many scouts were there, a couple hundred, and we were all camping on Tidewater Provincial Park Island. I remember the Tidewater because it was hot. Holy jump, it was hot. And the kids wanted to go swimming. Well, we're on the river there, and the Tidewater's coming in, and then there's water going out because of the river, and there's Tidewater coming in. So a certain depth, the water's going one way, and then it's going the other way.
Wow.
So I told all my scouts, I want to see nipples at all times. Don't go any deeper than that, because if you go down, all of a sudden, where does he go? Is he going that way?
Yeah. Oh, that's scary.
The current would take you, eh? There's an island. It's called Fossil Island.
Oh, let's see. There you go.
That's right next to the high Tidewater Park Island. It's a very interesting place to go.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go back. I wanted to bring my granddaughters up there. The time I went there, I really, really enjoyed it. I grew up in Niagara Falls, Ontario, and we moved back up north, and then blah, blah, blah. I experienced a lot of things in my life, but then I became a scout leader for 6 years, and I spent most of my time taking care of the scouts. There was 12 or 15 in my troop. So I had to dedicate. I was committed. I got to take care of them.
Yeah.
But I wanted to take off by myself, and I wanted to take the canoe. When I was there, the indigenous people, you could talk to them, and they were very, very nice, polite. You react the way you treat them, eh? Depending on your taste and what interests you. There's so many things to see up in the middle of nowhere. Well, I hope you enjoy. Discover lots of things. There's lots out there. How much has changed since I was there, I'm not sure.
They were really lovely, and that was our meal for the day.
It was our main meal for the day.
And then we went back to the campground, and I know what it was. It was rainy. We went to Tim Hortons. And then we finally went and got wood and went back and made a fire, and it was chilly and rainy that day.
Oh yeah, it was a glum.
Anyway,
but the beavers were out again. So.
That's true. And let's see. I wanted to mention at the campsite. I also want to talk about the water. So we had, thanks to Derek, a 2-gallon water jug that had a nozzle on it, which was really key in having like a hand washing station. Or like a station to just like rinse off utensils as you use them, so you don't have food residue on them. And it was really, really helpful to have that. Mm-hmm. After he left and we were just on our own, pouring it out of bottles was not as helpful. So I highly recommend a water container with the nozzle, and make sure you fill it before you leave a campsite, because you're not really guaranteed water that's potable at the next one.
And also make sure nobody leans on said tap while driving.
Yes.
And soaks
your camping gear. Yeah, that's not cool. Yeah, make sure the nozzle is not being leaned on and draining out gallons of water into your sleeping gear. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So we really enjoyed Kip-Kap-Iwan, but moved on to the Kettle Lakes. That was our next destination. And first we went to try and find a buffalo farm, which, again, with the Google Maps, it said it was open and it wasn't. So that was a drag. But we got to see buffalo.
In fairness to the Google Maps on that one, I remember we found it. They had their open flags out on the street, and there was just nobody there.
That's true. There were open signs, So
I hope there wasn't a family emergency. The buffalo did not seem to be deterred or in any way upset. So, but they were not open. We did not eat buffalo.
Oh, and then this is the day that we ended up crossing over the watershed, the Arctic. We crossed into the Arctic watershed, and we have pictures, and it's amazing. But we were leaving the Atlantic watershed and entering the Arctic watershed, where from that point north, all of the water, all the rain that fell, eventually flows into the Arctic Ocean. And for some reason, that just got me. I love that idea.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good tickling.
It's very cool. And on the road, we passed this restaurant, truck stop kind of place that said Punjabi restaurant. And I was like, oh my God, Punjabi restaurant. We're not hungry. It's not time to eat. I want to be able to feast. So, okay, maybe there's another one up the road. We'll come across it when we're actually hungry. And we didn't see another one. But we went to the Kettle Lakes. And the Kettle Lakes, I think this was one of the most beautiful sights. We got there kind of early in the afternoon.
Yep.
Brett and Derek were setting up camp, and I wandered over to the visitor center to get the scoop on, what we should do and where we should eat. And it was kind of warm that day.
It was a lovely day.
And the women in the visitor center, the naturalists, Celeste and Sophia.
Was it Sophia?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They told me about, they told me to swim in a lake because it was several of them are spring fed. They're just so great. It's like a mineral bath.
Yeah.
So we did go swimming in the lake. And then they told us about this Chinese restaurant in a town called Matheson, which is about, 20, 25 minutes down the road.
We'd actually driven through it.
We'd actually driven there on the way, and I tried to have this rule of no going backwards, but either way we were going, I was going backwards at some point. Anyway, I digress. So we went for a swim. You want to talk about the swim?
Well, it was lovely. I mean, it was cold, but the water just felt so good, and for at least a couple of days afterwards, you totally felt just so soft, like you had completely had a mineral bath, and which you essentially had by all accounts, right? I mean, it's spring water flowing back up through those rocks from the Canadian Shield. And
the lake that we swam in was called Green Lake.
Right.
And
we were camped on Frog Lake?
It was Frog Lake, yeah. Well, I didn't see any frogs there, though.
That was disappointing.
But those are just 2 of the 22 lakes that make up this park. And it's a big, sprawling park that used to be like a Boy Scout camp. It used to be a bunch of other things. Like there were workers that lived up there, and there was a lumber industry at one point, and they replanted some stuff. So it's really an interesting park. So Brett and I did go to dinner in Matheson that night, and it was Chinese Canadian.
Which is something that really was a wrench to learn.
It was different from the one in Owen Sound, though.
Yes, yeah. But it was more... You almost felt politics. You didn't know quite how to behave because of what was on offer. And, it was so broad.
Yeah.
Right.
I always want to have something traditional and respect the cuisine of the nation that the person is, the restaurateur is from. Yeah. But she was just like, I'll make you anything. And we were like, So, but I ended up getting wonton soup, which was this big bowl of dark broth with big wontons, bok choy, and sliced pork. It was phenomenal.
Very, very generous, yeah, for sure. And I think
Rick
I got
the hot and sour soup,
which had that again sort of nostalgia, but I do love it. That weird viscosity to it, which it was lovely. It was really good, and we got something else. We
shared sesame chicken.
Gotcha. Yeah, and so we did.
That was the compromise.
We made the comfort food compromise, but it was very good. But you could also have had fish and chips. You could have had poutine.
It was on the menu.
It was all on the menu in this tiny little place in this in a tiny little place in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
and it was kind of bizarre, but that was we started to realize was quite typical of at least Ontario, and I had no idea. And so you got over yourself eventually. It's like, oh well, if you're going to offer me that, I'm going to eat that because that's what I fancy.
Yeah,
it's always good.
And we stopped at that one stand with that one produce stand because we did need some more vegetables. We got potatoes and carrots and cucumbers there, and we got some kindling.
Oh yeah,
from that dude. Yeah,
the guy's grandson was selling firewood, which was just basically, I think, end cuts off of probably from a lumber yard of just like 2x4s essentially. So it was mostly pine, so it was
good kindling.
That burned up right quick. For $2 Canadian, how are you going to argue?
We ended up seeing a really beautiful sunset over the town of Matheson, and then got back to our campsite just in time to make.
I stepped outside for a rainbow too.
Right, you did see the rainbow, but we didn't see the sunset over any of the 22 Kettle Lakes.
No.
We'd seen mostly, yeah.
No, I mean, most nights it was like, oh, what body of water are we going to watch the sunset over this evening?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one we didn't.
Yeah.
No.
But we did go back to the campsite, and I played with my UV flashlight, and saw the glowing moss and the lichen
Oh,
and the
yeah.
table that was glowing. That was fun.
It was.
And then the next day, I had looked at the weather and realized that the next night was going to be close to 40 degrees and rainy. And it was supposed to rain all afternoon. And I thought, like, nope, let's just get an Airbnb. So we got an Airbnb in a town just like 20 miles away called Timmins. And so with that, we knew that we had all day to play with because we knew we were going indoors for, you know, we could get there after dark and it would be fine, you know? So we spent the day just hiking around. We packed up our stuff and then we went on a hike with the naturalists, Celeste and Sophia, and they showed us all kinds of great stuff. There was moss and lichen, and because of the rain, the lichen had just puffed up into these puff balls. It was so cool. And they had us taste tea berry and what was that fern? They were rubbing on that fern and it smelled really good. I can't remember what that was.
I can't remember what that was, but it was really good.
And we saw lobster mushrooms, and we learned about the jack pine tree and the trembling aspen.
Quaking aspen.
Is it quaking aspen?
Quaking aspen.
Did you look it up?
I did.
Okay.
And
Because I
looked
found
up-
trembling aspen.
Well, I looked up trembling aspen, and it took me to quaking aspen. So
Really?
when I looked up quaking aspen and trembling aspen, it took me to the same place, quaking aspen. So I'm going to say
Quaking aspen. Okay, I'm going to change
Well,
that.
maybe I'm wrong. I don't speak Canadian, so, you know.
Okay. And then we learned about erratics, which are the rocks. They get deposited when the glaciers melt. They had that whole...
You see them everywhere. It's kind of wonderful. Giant boulders, lovely polished, and just boom, and dropped where they don't belong.
Yeah, and they've got whole, you know, ecosystem in it.
Mm-hmm.
And trees grow out of them, and it's really interesting.
Or they're in the middle of one of those Kettle Lakes, and they're basically an island.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, that's true. Erratics could be islands, rocks dropped in the middle of a lake. All right, so we spent most of the day just there wandering around and decided to head towards Timmins. And it was a good thing that we went while it was still light. We ended up driving through a town called Porcupine, which I wish we would have found a reason to stay in Porcupine. We stopped at a lake and looked around a little bit, and then it was starting to get like a little windy.
that
and
was a
chilly.
gorgeous afternoon. I mean, yeah, we knew it was coming.
It
but
was getting moody. We're
it
like, yes,
was
we made the right
beautiful.
decision.
Yeah, rainbow and
Yeah, there was
bald
another
eagle,
rainbow.
and some bald eagles, and yeah.
Yeah, and Timmins is an old industrial town, and so there was like,
mining and lumber. I think
yep, and so there was a lot of like that sort of
remnant and
that sort of remnant around. And so we got to the Airbnb, we got situated, and then we went looking for something to eat, and I found a Punjabi restaurant in Timmins. So we made our way there. It was just a few blocks, and it was pretty good.
I thought it was,
You loved it,
I
yeah.
liked it very, very much. Yeah, I thought it was very good. It was, it was typical of just so many other times I've ever eaten Indian, and particularly when it comes out in that format with the sort of silver tray thing.
Oh yeah, it was in
instead
the
of
tray with the
broken.
different compartments. Yeah.
It is odd, but it always ever looks like, oh, that's not enough food, and you always end up not being able to finish half of it. So it was perfectly lovely, and pretty sure I dined on the rest of it for breakfast.
You did. You had it for breakfast.
I actually, in the weirdest Airbnb I have ever.
It was
been
very
in.
weird. Yes, that should be noted.
And I'll tell you why I know. Here's a mark of it. So yes, you go in, and we are in apparently the living room, come master
It's
bedroom
upstairs,
suite,
second
come
floor.
sort of kitchen, except for one little factor, and then of course you go up some steps, and now you're into 2 steps, and you're now into the bathroom, which is also a hallway that leads you to the second bedroom.
And it's just under the roof. So when you take those 2 steps, the roof is even closer to you.
I remember I did actually heat my curry that following morning. I used a pan in that little alcove around the corner on one hot plate to heat it up. But then when I needed to wash everything, I had to go across the room, up the stairs, into the bathroom, and use the sink in the bathroom because there was no sink.
The second room, the second bedroom, which was Derek's bedroom, was on the other side of the bathroom. So he was kind of trapped there if either of us were in the bathroom. It was very odd. It was very weird.
It was funny though.
It was a weird Airbnb, but I'm glad that we stopped there. It was a good middle point. One thing I'm really, really, really mad about is that we didn't go to what ended up being one of my favorite beer breweries that was there.
Yep. Well, you hadn't declared a favorite by then.
I hadn't, but I had a couple of their beers that were good. But there's a brewery there called Full Beard Brewing Company, and I had a bunch of their beers throughout the trip, and they were always spot on. They were always really good beers, and they're located in Timmins, literally like maybe 4 blocks away from where we are.
I'm pretty sure we rolled past it,
and we didn't go there. So I mean, that could have been another interview, but alas, for the next trip.
Yes. Exactly. But I do remember that we walked up to dinner and then had dinner, and it was lovely. And then we stepped out of the restaurant, and in the time we'd been in the restaurant, the temperature had just plummeted, like easily 20 or 25 degrees. It was, and that was biting wind. And
the wind was the thing, yeah, because I feel like if we were not at the top of a hill of some sort, we were definitely in a very flat area, and the wind was just whipping around.
And you're in the one built-up part of it, and so it's just tunneling that.
But also, the sunset the sky was on fire, and I've got a bunch of pictures of that.
It just kept going.
So long too. It lasted for an hour and a half or something. It was bonkers. So we treated this night at the Airbnb like what do you call it? What was I calling it when we would go and so we had 4 walls and it was warm in there, and we didn't have to worry about setting anything up. So that was kind of a treat. And we got to they didn't have a shower, so we all had to take baths, which was fine. I think I just sort of stood in the tub with the thing. The walls were coming down because it was
you can't stand in the tub.
The roof. You couldn't stand there. So yeah, it was weird. But anyway, the next day we got up, and like I said, Brett had his curry for breakfast. I can't remember what I had, but I had something. And we left around 11 o'clock. And Derek was really interested in the mining museum that was there, but it was closed. Fortunately, there was a lot of stuff outside to look at. So we stopped there for a while, and then we got gas and hit the road up to Cochrane.
Oh, that's right, Cochrane.
And Cochrane, for some of my listeners who may have been following along, Cochrane is the town where one would catch the Polar Bear Express to go up to the moose factory. We did not get to do that, and it was very disappointing. However, we did go up to Cochrane, and we did see the trains, and, well, we didn't see the Polar Bear Express, but we saw the old trains that they have there. It's a beautiful old station with these old trains, and it was just really nice to walk around and see the history of this really northern town.
And, of course, the polar bear heritage of that place was on full display with a couple of giant polar bear sculptures around that had been rebuilt and relocated and so on. It was kind of lovely.
Yeah.
Very what do you call it? Primitive, but just lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they did tag onto that quite a bit, which I rather liked.
I got to talk to the woman because there's a hotel right above the train station that a lot of people stay at, because when you take the Polar Bear Express, it leaves Cochrane at 9 a.m. So you have to be there, and there's not a lot around, so that hotel is probably the most convenient, and you can park there for the time that you're up in Moosonee. So I was expecting it to be really expensive, but it's only like $100 a night, so it could have been a lot more. Bed and breakfast up in Moosonee were going for like $450. I called a couple places up there. They could have charged more. But also, the hotel is very convenient because when you come back, the Polar Bear Express gets back into Cochrane at 10 p.m. So then you need a place to stay when you get back into town. And 10 p.m. where are you going to drive to? There's not a lot around.
Not a lot.
So that's probably what we'll do when we do that. That's our hot tip. But I did get to talk with the person at the station who sells tickets for the Polar Bear Express. And I asked her all kinds of questions about going up to Moosonee.
My name is Samantha Whitelock. I'm a customer service and sales agent for Ontario Northland in Cochrane, Ontario.
And you sell tickets for the Polar Bear Express.
I do.
Which unfortunately we will not be taking this year, but we're getting lots of good information to be able to plan a trip for the next time. So tell me about what's it like living up here in Cochrane?
It's great. I prefer living in a small town, a small community. Pretty well everybody knows each other. We do a lot of community events and everything, and it's great to go to those and see so many people you haven't seen since the last one. And it's nice living in a little northern town.
How often do you take the Polar Bear Express?
Not as often as I wish I did. I try and take it at least once a month, just because it's a nice ride, and it's nice to be on it during the different seasons and everything. But life gets busy, so as much as I can.
Do you stay up there when you take the train, or is it just about the journey?
Not usually. I actually usually do just a roundabout trips. I go up and then come back in the same day.
So that's legit. To just take the train ride just for the journey.
Yep. Oh, it's very, very popular. We get a lot of German and European tourists that will come up and just go for the day.
Oh, all right. Well, that's good to know as we're planning. It was really difficult to find stuff online about it, so I'm really glad we made it all the way up here to gather our information, and hopefully I'll be able to post it on like Google Maps and get some information out.
Yeah. So in about 2026, the Northlander is going to be running again, and then it would be available from Toronto all the way to here, and then you would switch over to our Polar Bear Express train, and that would take you all the way up to Moosonee. From Moosonee, if you want to go even further than that, you could actually get what's called a water taxi. It's a boat ride. And they can take you up all the way to the James Bay mouth.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely what I would want to do, to get up there and see the nature and see the bay.
It's pretty cool. You can get up there and see a lot of wildlife usually, see some seals and everything, and yeah.
The only seaport in Ontario.
Yes.
Right?
Yep, that's right.
Tidal body of water.
That's right.
Yeah, because it's attached to the Arctic Ocean.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
no
thank you for
problem.
all the information. And yeah, I'm looking forward to our trip. I'm going to have to just plan it even more.
Exactly.
Thanks.
No problem.
She gave me the contact information for a couple guides up there, native guides. So I'm going to get in touch with them and hopefully have a lot more resources for when we do go up there, because I couldn't find anything online about like tours to go and see birds or wildlife or any of that kind of stuff, or like any kind of interesting food stuffs up there. And I know that we saw a documentary about people going to where they cook a particular type of bread and other things
and
up
it also
there.
gave us good notions on windows of when, so recommended maybe June, because school wouldn't be out
Before kids
everywhere,
get out of school, yeah.
before it became tourist traffic a big time. Then also where we were when we were going up, that's part of the reason it was an issue, and I think pricing was because it was in its last 1 or 2 weeks of even being open. I don't know that the train runs regularly just for supply or not, but I feel like
It does, yeah.
Oh, it does? Mm-hmm. So I guess you can always go up there, but it seemed like they were saying the season was going to be ending in like a couple of weeks, and that was the beginning of September.
The tourist season, yeah, but they had local people, and people do go up and they ice fish, and there's different activities year round, but it definitely reduces in the winter.
How far up is Moosonee from Cochrane?
That is a great question. I do not know the distance, but it takes 5 hours on the train.
Well, there you are.
Something like
I
that.
bet it's a lot more in kilometers.
It is definitely more in kilometers. Anyway, so we wandered around the station, then we went out and we saw the actual old trains, and that was cool. Then we went to the Polar Bear Sanctuary, and we walked around.
My name's Emma. This is us here. This is the Welcome Center. through that door there, over there, that's our vintage Skidoo Museum. So we have all of the old snowmobiles that is run from our Skidoo Museum people.
Yeah, we heard about that from the train station.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then out that door there, and then following this black trail, it'll bring you up to our viewers building here. So we have some trivia, some questionnaires, fun facts about the polar bears. You get a really good view of enclosures A and B. Today we have Ganek, who is in enclosure A, B, and he has access to D. So that's our big lake enclosure.
Oh, okay.
So he's been out. He can go out swimming. It's been a little chilly for him. I don't think he's really been out there, but there's also trees and all that kind of stuff that he can hide in.
Wait. It's been chilly for a polar bear?
Yes.
What does it even mean?
So because they've
It's
kind of
September. It was like, what, 4 degrees
I know.
last
In the
night?
summer, they love swimming because it gets really, really hot. So they love going in the pool. We have plenty of pools, and then we have our big lake for them. So they love doing that. But as the seasons start to go, because they've sort of acclimatized themselves to Cochrane, they start to feel, not the cold, but they get a little chilly, so they don't necessarily love going swimming on the colder days like this.
They want to snuggle.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
So up over here, this will be in enclosure C. That's Henry. So he's been in and out kind of today. He's been a little bit sad the past week. Up over here, this is our heritage village. So it's an old representation of Cochrane in the 1900s. You can go in and out of each one of the buildings there, and then it loops all the way back around for you.
Neat. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
They did have 3 polar bears until relatively recently. We didn't see a polar bear because the other 2 polar bears were in mourning for their friend.
Yeah.
But we walked around.
And it's a weird sight. I mean, they've got sort of like a historical village, but it is just so weirdly coordinated.
With like all the old tools and the old structures. And
a lot of it was pretty great, but at the same time, it sort of had this weird feel of like a model village built by a neighbor of Stephen King or something. I don't know. It was weirdly creepy.
I don't know what that's about. But anyway. We did have lunch in Cochrane, and we asked for recommendations, and someone told us about Engel's, which is a convenience store that was right near the station. And we had fried chicken and poutine. It was all right. And then we drove to Rene Brunel Provincial Park, which was west and maybe a little north. So Rene Brunel Provincial Park was the northernmost campground that we stayed at. And yeah, we stayed in the Owl's Nest Loop, which was great. Oh, we passed a place called Moonbeam, which had this big UFO out on the highway.
That was great.
So yeah, we got to the campground around 7 p.m. and Brett and Derek were setting up camp, and I went to see what was going on. Sunset around 8, so I wanted to see where a good place to see sunset would be, and I came upon this really lovely couple named Marcy and Tom. And we got to chatting, and they were like, hey, yeah, you want to come down for sunset? And they're like, do you like fish? We got fish. You want to come down? So they invited us for dinner and sunset. And I just met these people. So I went back and got Derek and Brett, and we came over, and Brett said it was the best meal of the trip that he had had.
I'm going to stand by that. It was...
Tom, you did a great job.
It was just a delight, and it was a lovely story too. They had, wherever they were staying the day previous, their neighbours at their campsite were, as they described them, fisher folk, and they were there for somebody's birthday and celebrating and fishing, and then had something like 24 pickerel. Couldn't eat them all themselves, so gave I think 4 or 5 of them to, our host that evening. And a guy cooked up a bunch and presented it with, I want to say, some sort of like a slaw salad. It wasn't, it chopped like slaw, it wasn't dressed like slaw, because I'm not even sure if there was much of a dressing at all. And
so cabbage,
and I think carrot, and it was crisp and lovely. And there were the dried chickpeas that were just wonderful, but with this beautiful, beautiful pickerel, this whitefish, which, of course, apparently down here in the US, we know as walleye. And I now know I would eat walleye again in a heartbeat. It was just lovely. I mean, it doesn't get much better than fresh fish.
Yeah.
In the first place. And it was just delightful. And then to sit there eating that while looking at that sunset.
They had the perfect site. It was the only site that had an opening on the lake, and the sunset right smack dab in the middle of it. It was amazing.
And it went on for hours. It was like the sun went down and the sky was still giving a color display for another 2 hours. It was fabulous. And we were hearing the loons calling all over.
That was wild. Thinking I was hearing like coyotes or wolves or something, and you guys are like, no, those are the loons. And I was like, really?
I was pretty confident. I was pretty confident we were also hearing fox, and I think then later on, as we walked back to our site,
we saw the fox.
We had a nice little meeting with a fox.
Oh, it was so cute.
It was just like walk a few paces ahead of us, check on us, and then So I'm pretty sure we were hearing fox calling too, but the loons. Oh, they're haunting.
They are haunting. Yeah, that's a really good word for it. It was really cool.
It really was. It was just beautiful, and they were lovely people. I admire their adventure because they're at least my age, which is ancient. But they're on a kayaking adventure essentially. So their next site they're pulling in, and then loading up their kayaks with a barrel full of dried foods and paddling off into the interior.
Yes, they were going to Lady Evelyn Smoothwater Provincial Park, which is a park that you can only get to by canoe, I believe.
But
they were going by canoe. There's a couple inlet places. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it was a great stay, and I definitely want to stay there again. But if you ever stay up at Rene Brunel Provincial Park, and you're in the Owl's Nest Loop, you want to be at site number 88. That's the one. I've got it
unless
written
you're
down.
going the same time we're going,
because we're going to be there. We could share.
Come and say hi.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't promise that there will be fresh pickerel for you, but...
Oh, and we did get so lucky with the clear skies, because we saw the stars and the Milky Way almost every night.
I haven't even mentioned that. Just watching the whole swath of the arm running over you every night. That was staggering.
And we were keeping a keen eye out for the TCRB.
I think that's right. The
supernova.
Expected supernova. They're supposed to be up in the Corona Borealis
constellation.
Yeah, yep. Which, if memory serves, is find the Big Dipper, handle of the Big Dipper, and head to the left
and up a little. And there's like a crown. Well,
yeah. Looks like the rivets.
You're not going to find it based on our directions.
Looks like a set of rivets on a Wrangler pocket.
It does look like Wrangler pocket rivets.
But yeah, so it's meant to be up in there, but we did not see that. But we did regularly find that constellation and now know where it is, which is great.
Yep.
But that was a gorgeous park. It was. And good people. I just kept meeting good people.
And then the next day, we were heading to a place called Kapuskasing. And I had arranged to interview a cheesemaker that I was calling likely the northernmost cheesemaker in Ontario, Francois from Fromagerie Kapuskasing. Stay tuned for more adventures.
All right.
With Bowl and Spoon is written, produced and hosted by Shelley Danko Day. Original theme song was written and performed by Paul LeBreeze and friends. You can listen to With Bowl and Spoon wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe, like, review and share. Follow us and send us questions or messages on Facebook and Instagram at With Bowl and Spoon. Thanks for listening.